Hey guys, Tony here, and I'm back again to do a um, record collection must-have. I think this is number 5, I believe, and I'm gonna do a record here that really needs no introduction. And if I was gonna go in any kind of order for record collection must-haves, which I'm not, by the way, but if I was, this would be probably right at the top of the list. Um, Velvet Underground and Nico, produced by Andy Warhol, produced. This is a Verve Records reissue. I don't know if they all are, but I bought this a while ago now, but great album. I mean, I'm sure almost all of you who watch these videos or collect records are familiar with this record. And if not, you should be, because it's a fantastic record. You don't see this record so much or hear about it so much for nothing. I mean, this really is a great record, and very different. I mean, this was the Velvet Underground's first record. Um, Lou Reed, I mean, the Velvet Underground had formed and were playing around, and Andy Warhol and his entourage of people at the factory where they kind of hung out or whatever, were looking for a band to produce, just to get into the business, to make money. Somebody had seen these guys at a club and took Andy Warhol down there, and they immediately offered to manage them, put up money to produce an album, and right away. I mean, the Velvet Underground, Lou Reed, John Cale, Sterling Morgan. I mean, these were kind of like street people, really, New York people. So a lot of people just kind of considered them hustlers, and Andy Warhol really didn't know what he was doing as far as producing music, but it was a good relationship because it really got the Velvets some attention, and it got them going. But one thing that happened was they decided to add Nico as the singer, and she was just a woman that she was probably, I don't know, maybe some kind of model or something back then. She was from Europe. I don't remember specifically where, maybe Germany or something. And she was looking to get some attention, and everybody was in that scene was just really enthralled by her looks, and I think she wanted to kind of be a pop star, so they kind of forced Lou Reed to take her on, forced the band to take her on to sing songs, and they figured that she would get more attention in front of the microphone and in pictures and things. So Lou actually wrote her a couple songs to sing, but for the most part, I mean, she sings like, I believe she sings Femme Fatale, All Tomorrow's Parties, and I'll Be Your Mirror, and that might be it. But if you know Nico, if you know any of her albums, Chelsea Girl and Marble Index, she's got a very distinctive voice, one that it might take a little while to grow on you, but I like her stuff, as I'm sure a lot of people probably do. It's very interesting, I think. But these songs, they deal with mostly, like, I'd say maybe like the underbelly of society in a way. It's like drugs and sex and things like that. And for an album that was recorded in like 1966, and released in 1967, the subject matter of this is pretty hard to handle. I mean, I'm sure there was nothing out there like this at the time. Such just overt sexuality, overt drug use, things like that. I mean, the song's Heroin. I mean, it's basically about somebody scoring and doing the drugs and feeling the effects of them. I'm Waiting for the Man. It's like probably one of the greatest drug songs ever written, about trying to score, and if I don't know, it's just, the lyrics are very astute. I mean, dealing with drug dealers, having to wait for them, and you're standing around wanting to do these drugs, and how he's always late and things like that. It's a very astute lyrics, and the songs are just that good. They're just really good. I mean, um, different kinds of things. There's kind of I guess you would consider I'm Waiting for the Man and There She Goes, Sunday Morning. They're kind of more upbeat kinds of songs. And then you have the experimental side of it with mostly John Cale is the one always pushing the group to be more experimental. I mean, I believe he played like electric viola on these songs, and that's the weird instrument you hear during it. Um, but yeah, I mean, Heroin and Venus and Furs. Those two songs are both were on the Doors soundtrack. If you remember that the film The Doors and the soundtrack that came with it, and that's where I was introduced to these songs. Funny story, is I had that song. I was such a huge Doors fan when I was like 13, 14, probably 15, and that's where I first heard those songs from the movie and on the soundtrack. So eventually I got around to probably seeing this album cover and things like that. I remember me and my friends would ride around on bikes, ride all through town and stuff. And a friend of ours whose parents owned a company, and they had a lot of money then, and his mother would take him to work, and 13, 14-year-old kid would be hanging around there, and he'd steal petty cash from the company. And he'd take like $200 from the petty cash, and he'd save it, and we'd go out and he'd buy us like lunch and cassette tapes and things, and I never questioned it, but whatever. So we were at a music store, and at the time we were buying cassettes, and I mean that's pretty much all I listened to. And I saw this on cassette, and 13 years old, 14 I'd say, and I probably wouldn't have bought it with my own money, but he was buying us tapes, so I bought it. I mean, imagine someone that young listening to these songs, and I pretty much had no clue what they were about. I mean, Heroin, obviously, but Venus and Furs is about S&M, things like that, and I just kind of like the songs because they were in that soundtrack, and eventually I listened to it a lot and got to know the album really good. But it's fantastic. It's Lou Reed wanted to be more of the rock kind of sound that he gets with There She Goes Again and Run 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 and Sunday Morning. But yeah, this is such a great album. This was recorded like over just a few days. It says produced by Andy Warhol, but really I would say Tom Wilson, who was the producer of some of Bob Dylan's early records, produced this. They also say John Cale did a lot to arrange and produce a lot of these songs. And Andy Warhol just kind of put his name on it. I mean, he was an influence, and he gave his opinion on things, but he really knew nothing about producing stuff. Yeah, but Nico, she's good on this, and it's too bad because she was out of the group right after this. I mean, Luke kind of disbanded the group after this album because he was unhappy with Warhol, his management. He was unhappy with having Nico there. And later on, I think he kicked out John Cale because Lou wanted to go in a more rock and roll direction. And John Cale kept pushing for experimentation. So, yeah, but this is a great album. I'll go through the song again real quick. Sunday Morning, fantastic song. It opens up. It's a little slower, but it's really great. I'm Waiting for the Man, again, song about trying to score drugs. Femme Fatale, I do believe Nico sings that one. I'm not positive for some reason. It's kind of late. Venus and Furs, again, it's about S&M. It's more experimental. It's got that viola, and it's really good. Run, Run, Run. I think it's about drugs again, taking speed. All Tomorrow's Parties, I believe that Nico sings that, and it's really good. Heroin, There She Goes Again. That's kind of a rocker. It's pretty good. I'll Be Your Mirror. That's Nico again, singing. The Black Angels Death Song. That's actually where the group, the Black Angels, got their title. And European Sun, experimental stuff too, but excellent, excellent album, and I highly recommend this. If you have a record collection and don't own this, go out and get it because it's really fantastic. Another interesting note is that there was a big lawsuit over. See, the band would play at Andy Warhol's touring show. It was called something. I'm gonna get it wrong, but like the exploding plastic inevitable something, plastic something. But anyway, and the band would play over that, and they'd do all kinds of things. Like during Venus and Furs, they'd have dancers come out and do like this S&M dance with a bullwhip and things. But that's where these photos were basically taken during those shows. It was while they were out on tour that they actually recorded this album. But in the background is a picture. I forget the artist's name. I'm sure one of you guys would know it, but they used his image there in the background as part of the light show. When the album came out, they didn't authorize the use of that photograph. So, just an interesting thing. And now, I guess in the reissues, it's on there. So, and another thing, an original of this is extremely valuable. When the album came out, it flopped. Nobody was interested in it. It didn't even get a lot of reviews in papers when it came out. And it got on the charts. I think it peaked at 190 or something. It just didn't do well. And it wasn't until years later that people started talking about the influence of this album. And this is really, again, one of the most influential albums. I would probably dare say that this is the whole underground movement, punk and indie, art rock, things like that, kind of stem from this in a way. So the importance of this record cannot be understated. I mean, it's a fantastic record and really good. So, guys, again, thanks for watching. If I got any of the facts wrong, let me know. It's late and I'm just trying to talk this up off the top of my head. So, thanks for watching. Please leave me some comments. Let me know. Take care.